Everybody else will pray for you, yeah. But I got really good at it. I always would say I have a PhD in manipulation and doctrine and deception. You know, I got very good at lying. I got very good at hiding stuff because I didn't want nobody to find out all my secrets. What they could think about me? Oh, I'm bruise my pride. You know, and so I became very selfish, self-centered, self-seeking, self-reliant. Everything was about me. Like, I'm not exaggerating at all. Everything. Like, from when we wake up in the morning with the girlfriend, what beach we're going to, how long we're going to stay at the beach, to what car we're going to buy next, how much kids we're going to have, the name of all the kids, everything, where we're going to eat. Like, everything was about me. If I wasn't in control, I was out of control. I was a textbook definition of narcissistic personality disorder. Like, to the max. But the reason why I was like that, I told myself, was because how I was raised. If you guys think about it, I work in treatment as well. Everything we struggle with as adults can be traced back to our childhood. It can be traced back to that. And in the process of recovery, I got sober in a 12-step program. Anybody else? Yeah, I have been sober for 2,072 days by the grace of God, literally. I thank God, I give God all the glory for where I'm at today and everybody around me in the rooms for the way that I think. I found out in this process of recovery, I never had a drinking problem or a drug problem. Drugs and alcohol was always my solution. I had a thinking problem that manifests into a drink problem, a drug problem, an anger problem, a control problem, an eating problem, a sex problem, whatever it could be. All of that originated in my mind first. So I kind of hang on to a woman to save my life. You know, I kind of, because of time, I'm going to fast forward everything. I come to California in 2016. And my mom needs a new kidney. My mom, she died last year. My mom had cancer. She had cancer like 3 times in her life. I stayed sober through my mom's death. And so my mom needed a new kidney. She got the kidney. I flew up here. My brother and sister have been living here for like 25 years already at this point. And my sister allowed me to stay with her. It didn't take long. You know why? Wherever I went, I took myself with me. I was the problem. It was me. It wasn't the drugs. It wasn't the alcohol. It wasn't all my ex-girlfriends. It wasn't my dad. It wasn't the state of Hawaii. It wasn't the police department. I thought it was. You know, it was me. The greatest revelation I ever had in my entire life. That the problem, what I was suffering from more than anything, was me. I was the culprit. So, that really bruised my ego when I found that out about myself. And yeah, so all my lies compounded and it caught up to me. I kept my drug use a secret from my immediate family for 20 years. You have to be good at lying in order to do that. When the truth finally came out, a lot of them were shocked, except my dad. My dad, if you're watching that, he's the only one who was like, makes sense? Makes sense? Not because I lost weight, not because I was tweaking out in front of him, it was because of my attitude. I can imagine if I came across somebody in recovery active in my addiction, they probably was like, oh, wow, this guy is one of us. You know? So I get caught. I never got sober by reaching out my hand for help. Way too much pride, way too much pride, way too much ego. By 10 years into drinking and using, I made a decision. I'm either gonna die from it or I'm gonna die with it. That's it. Because every time I try to fight against just a thought of not drinking and using, they just run me over like a Mack truck. You know, at a certain point, the big book says, at certain times we'll have no effective mental defense against the first one, not the second one or the third one. It's always the first one that gets us. So my secret comes out, my dark secret. You know, it's such a liberating experience. I don't know if anybody's still holding secrets here. Trust, I gave all my secrets away in the process of recovery, specifically in my 5th step. And it freed me. In my 4th step, I was free from me. The disease of me is what I was suffering from. I was free of me. I shared everything. You know, the Bible says, confess your sins one to another so that you may be healed. Healing is so important. I'll tell you why. If we do not heal, let's say, okay, if you guys don't heal, you will bleed on all the people that didn't cut you. You're gonna make the next person pay for what the last person did. And I'm not talking about just a boyfriend or girlfriend, talking about even the boss. If you had a bad relationship with your last boss, guess what? You're gonna make your new boss pay for what your last boss did. Or your last girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife, you're gonna make them pay. Healing happens when you're safe too. So in this process, I'm starting to heal. My secret came from the dark into the light. It's like, you guys ever been in a dark room, right? and you guys turn on the light, anybody notice that the darkness never fights with the light to stay dark? It's gone. That's exactly how I felt when, for the first time in my life, I shared what I was really struggling with somebody, which is my sister. If it wasn't for my sister pressing me and not believing all my lies, I wouldn't be here right now talking to everybody. I don't even know where I would be. I don't even like to think about it. So I tried to get into treatment. I couldn't. By the way, Yellowstone, South Coast, my hat is off to you guys. You guys are full of enthusiasm. That's the kind of people I want to hang around. And so I couldn't get into treatment. So I remember thinking, hey, people get sober in these 12-step things. I don't know. So I went to my first meeting on February 17, 2017, and the rest is history. I relapsed 4 times off alcohol. And because when I first got sober, I was definitely a drug addict. Alcoholic, nah, bro. I still had some reservations. I had some reservations still. It was a lack of honesty with myself. But the greatest thing recovery ever taught me was how to think about you more than I think about me. Because of that, the concept, the principle in recovery, I started a nonprofit organization to help people like me. People who are addicts, alcoholics, people that suffer from mental health issues. We host different events. That's the last thing I'm going to talk about in closing. They have a picture of it. And everybody is invited. Everybody in this room is invited to this. I host sober parties. Anybody still like to party? Yeah? Okay. Through my nonprofit, I host sober parties. It's going to be tomorrow at the Magic House. Shout out to my mentor sitting in the front row right there, the Chief. It's going to be at the Magic House. Siobhan Thompson, she's from Throttle to Thrive. She's been sober for about 9 years now. She's going to be the guest host and speaker. She's going to share what it was like, what happened to her, what she's like today for about 10 minutes. Then we're turning the room into a panel. Myself, my brother Fausto, who you hear from right after me, and my friend Kat Sorensen. She's the co-owner of Laguna Shores Recovery. We're going to be on a panel answering questions. But the reason why I started to create these events was for safe places for us to come, have fun, get connected, and stay connected. Because the opposite of addiction is connection. Us as human beings, I believe we were built for connection. And before I get off this stage, can I just have your permission? Can I bless you guys real quick? Yeah? Okay, everybody reach out your hand. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May he make his face shine upon you. May he establish you and give you peace. In Jesus' name, angel. Amen. All right, thank you.
And I just want to say thank you, Pastor Randy, for inviting me out here. Thank you to my adopted dads. Well, actually, I got two adopted dads now. So see, I adopt my dads. I don't let them adopt me. And I'm just saying that now because in my story, when I talk about my real dad, I don't want Yellowstone and South Coast to jump this dad, right? So my adopted dad, I want to give a shout out to Pastor Phil Aguilar. He's been with me for about 4 years. And then about a year ago, maybe a little bit less, I ran into another person. I adopted him to be my dad. I just want to give a shout out to Johnny right here. Make some noise for Johnny right here. Yeah. And then one thing I've learned from Chief is your love life will dictate your soul life. Because think about it, whoever has your ear has your future, right, Alika? And your loved one, your romantic one, the one that you're most vulnerable with, that one has your ear for sure.
Yes,
so I want to give a shout out to my beautiful girlfriend, Ashraf. She's right here in the front. See, it's true. When you get sober, you can get a healthy relationship.
Yes, you can.
But sometimes you need to fail a couple more times with toxic ones in your sobriety. Yeah, it still happened. I ended up dating my dad again in my sobriety, in a woman's body. Well, just clarify. Okay. So step 11. Oh, and wait, hold on. See, I'm all over the place right now. If I stay sober till midnight,
no fronts.
No fronts, I will have 5 years of sobriety. So step 11, right? Prayer and meditation. I know for me, I wasn't a person that ever prayed. I didn't meditate, right? Like, you know, meditation, like you're telling me to sit down and listen to my thoughts and that's going to help me. You know, I didn't believe it. And then praying too, I don't know if you're like that, but when people talked about prayer, I didn't understand it. You know, it's like, what are you doing? Are you talking to your pillow at night? Like, how do you talk? And I don't know if you guys are like this, but every time I would hear someone pray, I felt like, you know, they're like singing a song. And I'm like, how do they do that? like, I don't know how to pray. So it's very confusing. So I never really did that. So in my story, I'm going to run you through my story, how I never used prayer or meditation. And then when I get sober, I'm going to show you guys how in 5 years, prayer and meditation has saved my life.
Yes.
So when I was a kid, I had social anxiety. I had thoughts about killing myself. I thought I was stupid. I thought I was ugly. I thought I was unlovable. I thought I was broken. I thought everything was my fault. Can anyone relate to that? Make some noise. Yeah, okay. So I have this type of mindset. My dad's a narcissist, my real dad, not the adopted one. My real dad's a narcissist, so he's very abusive. And so my dad taught me that your feelings don't matter. So because of that, I thought that I couldn't even share my experiences. So 7 years old, I get sexually abused by a boy. The moment wasn't traumatic because it was the first time I felt seen and heard. I don't know if you guys have ever felt like you could be in a room full of people, but you feel so alone. So it was the next day when the kid bullied me again, I felt like it was my fault. And that's where shame and guilt was born. So now I suppress this thought because my dad says I can't talk about this stuff, right? That's his voice in my head. So then from there, I remember in 4th grade, I got a concussion. And again, I've never been seen before, right? 4th grade, I get a concussion, go back to school. I go in the ambulance, I'm in the hospital for about a week, come back, all of a sudden, I'm the most popular kid in school. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, we were so worried about you. I'm like, yeah, right, you don't even know me. But I liked it, right? Because I never felt seen. So I learned that if something extreme happens to me, people will talk to me. So in middle school, I carried that belief with me, right? And remember, nobody knows what's happening to me. I'm not telling people how I feel. I just know I got to do extreme stuff. So in middle school, I know this is kind of gross, but I would drink, pee, eat, poop, and lick dead animals to get attention. Right, I know. I'm being honest. Crazy part was a girl still dated me during this. That's the part I'm shocked on. But again, remember, I was literally doing whatever I had to do to feel seen. Remember that. So then, after that, the next thing that happened in middle school was I found this new drug called love. You guys ever been in a relationship? Make some noise if you're codependent. Yeah, all right. Those are the ones to not go on a date with. So now I'm finding love, right? And I get in love and I'm thinking, I'm fixed. This girl loves me. Me being sexually abused doesn't matter no more. Cool. But what happened was, when the girls would break out with me in 7th grade, she must know I was sexually abused. Girl breaks out with me in 8th grade, she knows I was sexually abused. Then I go into 9th grade, she breaks out with me, she knows I'm sexually abused. See, that's what I thought in my head. I thought everybody knew. And I tried everything at this point, or most of it. I tried becoming a bodybuilder, a punk rocker, a skateboarder, a hippie, a gangster. I'd be with Yellowstone or South Coast. That's how it was, right? But I tried it all, and I was extreme about it. Are you guys chameleons in here? You guys know how to fit in and blend in? Yeah? Okay, so I did that. I tried all these external things, nothing's working. So then I tell my teacher, I'm gonna pretend I'm crazy. So I tell them I'm hearing voices that kill people. Thank God that was back then. Right, this is like, I don't know, 2006. So they sent me to the psych ward, but I got my wish, I got out of school. And then this is when I'm introduced to alcohol. So remember, at this point, I tried changing my external. It's not working. I have the secret of what happened to me. Can't tell no one. I'm having thoughts of suicide. I'm insecure. I got all this anxiety. And then alcohol comes into my life, and all of a sudden, I'm confident. I feel seen. I feel heard, right? My past doesn't matter. I thought, to me, in this moment, I said, now I understand why people want to live. This drink makes me want to live. So, drinking opened the realms to drugs. And then in 9th grade, what happens is I'm getting into meth. You got any tweakers? Those are all my weirdos, right? Sometimes I wonder does the meth make us weird, or were we already weird and the meth brought it out? That's one of those things, right? So then when I get into this thing called meth, now, this is where the second traumatic thing happened, right? Now I get molested for 6 months. But again, it happened to me as a kid, so happening again, I was like, this must be my life. And it was confusing, because I'm a 14-year-old kid, this person's 58 years old, I don't know what's going on, but it felt right. So it confused me. So again, I just thought, well, it's my fault. So I didn't say nothing. Now, this is the first time I prayed. I just said, God, if you're real, get me out of this situation, because I can't say anything I thought, because I felt like it was my fault. So I couldn't say nothing. So I remember praying, and the next day my mom goes, hey, we're moving back to Orange County. So I was like, holy crap, it works. But you know me, I ignored it. I didn't see it as a blessing, I saw it as a coincidence because I thought I'm God. So from that moment to 25, stood in my addiction, tried doing relationships. Every time they failed, I thought they knew I was molested and sexually abused. And I was overdosing, ending up in hospitals. I started taking steroids. I was 200 pounds, that didn't work. I tried making more money, that didn't work. Got a different job, that didn't work. Nothing was working. And so I tried committing suicide in 2017 by hanging myself, taking pills. And every time I woke up, I was pissed. And then this is when I questioned God. I said, God, if you're real, why would you have me sexually abused? Why would you have me molested? Why would you have my dad not be in my life? And my mom had cancer 3 times. Right? And I didn't take care of her in my addiction, which is something I regretted. But all this is happening, right? And I'm insecure, it's anxiety. I'm like, dude, I can't do this anymore. And it's crazy because my mom's cancer couldn't get me sober. Losing jobs couldn't get me sober. Heartbreak couldn't get me sober. Trying to kill myself couldn't get me sober. That's when I knew this disease is no joke. So that was another day, October 22nd, 2017. I prayed to God and I said, God, I need help. And God told me something. He said, life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. For the first time in 25 years, I felt relief. Imagine having a headache for 25 years, you take a pill and it's gone. I said, wait, God, are you saying that I was strong enough to go through all this pain to help other people grow through this pain? Right? That perception change, thank you. That perception change changed everything for me. So that's how my sobriety starts. Right? Then I go into AA, I get the sponsor, I work the steps. Now don't get me wrong, the steps were easy for me because I thought my sponsor was going to be my new daddy. But that's just being honest. My people pleasing, I thought AA stands for Abandonment's Anonymous. Straight fact. So when people say it's hard for me to do it, I'm like, it was easy for me. But came out of a defective character, but God will use our defects as assets. So my first year, here's the thing with the praying now. We're going to go through the praying. Okay, it's $4,000 in debt. I'm at a month sober. And I remember, pray. Okay. God, I need $4,000. I got a week. And then, you know, that's to talk to God and to meditate, right? Meditate is to listen. So I take a step back. Okay, I got nothing. Well, check this out. I was a server. I'm working a Christmas party. Just me, 30 people. I go to close out the tab. And the person tips me $2,000. So now I'm like, whoa. She comes back up to me and says, is that enough? Selfish part of me wanted to say, no, it's not. I need $2,000 more. But the reality is she tipped me $2,000 like on a $500 tab. I can't say that's not enough. So I got honest. I just said, no, that's enough. She goes, let me buy one more drink. I go, okay. She gets one more drink. I'm cleaning up. I go back. I pick up the tab. $2,000 more. Wow. Right? Again, crazy, right? Okay, now I know sometimes people are like, it doesn't always work like that. I get it, we got prayer experts. I get it. It's true, prayers don't always happen the way we want it, but they'll always happen the way we need it. Second year, right? I come in my sobriety again, and then I'm all happy at my job. All of a sudden, I get laid off. I go, okay, God, why'd you do that? Right, because remember, I'm a high school dropout at this point, so I got no education. I'm like, why would you do that? It's hard when you're doing everything right and it doesn't work out. So I started praying, God, I need help with a job. Well, guess what? God gives me a job. But the job ended up not being what I wanted. So now I'm like, okay, what was the point of that? Pray again, gives me another job. Doesn't work out. What was the point of that? So at this point, I'm getting desperate. See, I believe God will make us desperate before he gives us a blessing. Because if you're not desperate, you will see it as a coincidence. And a coincidence is empty. A blessing is a high. Right? We want to appreciate a coincidence, but we'll appreciate a blessing. So God had to break me down for like 8 months, put me in unemployment, make me doubt. And then I broke down, and God likes it when you're specific. So I got specific with God. I said, God, I only need like $19 an hour. Come on. That's cheap. That's nothing. I know I can't survive on that, but I got EBT. All right? And so I get specific, and I'm crying, right? I'm crying. 6 in the morning, I get a phone call from an interview that I didn't get, and the guy said, God talked to me last night. We don't have the position for this, but we have a better position if you want it. Wow.
Yep.
Third year comes around, right? Here again. I go, God, I'm living in Irvine now, right? I'm in a bougie area. I go, all right, God. And remember, you know us for an addiction, it's tough, right? Because we have all these feelings. My mind always wants to blow everything up. I want to relapse. I want to kill myself at times. So this praying was really heavy for me. So I go back into praying. I go, God, I need more money. It's expensive in Irvine. Okay, right. Get up, I'm like, okay, I'm good. Next day, guess what happens? I get a phone call. I get a job offer for a lot more money than I thought. Wow. God came in clutch again. But then, a week later, I get selfish. Sometimes we could get selfish. Have you ever got a job and you're so stoked, 2 weeks later, you say they don't pay you enough? Come on. So I get selfish, right? I get back on my knees. I go, all right, God, come on, you know I'm a good person. I need more money again. I didn't realize about this thing called taxes and all this stuff. So what ends up happening is God does answer my prayer, but in a different way. What happens is I find out. I lose my relationship because I'm getting cheated on the day after Christmas. I lose my home. I go, what happened? But because I have God in my life, I have to forgive, right? Because if we can't forgive the past, like Alika said, it will bleed onto the present moment. So I've forgiven the person who's abused me sexually. I've forgiven the person who molested me. Not for them, but for me. Because if I can't forgive them, I'm going to abuse everyone else. This is how it is. I had to forgive my dad, right? Because if I didn't forgive my dad, I became just like my dad, and I treated women like my dad treated my mom. I had to forgive. And then I said, well, what about all my exes, right? They always cheat on me. Well, I had to realize I always have a part. My part was, one, Fausto, you're toxic, so you're going to attract toxic people. Two, there were so many red flags and you still dated the person. What did you expect? One girl took a date on her date, and I still dated her. Right? Red flags. So see, I had a part. And then I learned, Fausto, you get cheated on all the time because you don't know when to leave. Yeah. So in that moment, right, I pray for more money, then this happens. But I know I gotta forgive, so I move out. My AA people pick me up. I sleep in my adopted dad's church, and I'm sitting there and going, God, why'd you do this? I just don't get it. Because me getting cheated on is worse than me being abused. For me, I would relapse over that. So I sit there praying, God, why? What's happening? I meditate, I listen. And then God speaks. He goes, Fausto. I go, yes, God. Remember when you prayed for more money? I go, yes, God. He goes, now you don't got rent. I went, wow. Wow, right? But see, that's the power of prayer. Sometimes it doesn't come how you want it, but it comes how you need it. Because down the road, I learned that I was with the wrong person, and it took me into EMDR therapy to work through more trauma, and then my life got better. And then I'll have an amazing girlfriend that's healthy, right? So see? I prayed to God too. I said, hey God, I really want to work with celebrities or high profile people. Again, all you guys have this ability to pray. Remember that. That's what I'm saying. I come from poverty. I have no education. I have none of this stuff. But I got sober. I worked my steps and I used praying to God. I said, God, I have a dream. And see, God knows the desires of our heart. I said, God, I want to work with celebrities. I don't know how I'm going to do that. But God breaks logical thinking. And so I prayed, God, help me do this. So what I would do is I would talk to the TV with celebrities, act like they're talking to me. And guess what happened? 11 months of my sobriety, Kanye West's life coach is sitting right behind me. And I talked to him on the TV. It worked. And then 3 years of sobriety during COVID, some guy saw my YouTube video, and it was a person from America's Got Talent. Got this. I'm just trying to teach you guys the power of prayer and meditation, how it works in our sobriety. You got to know kind of my past. I did AA to get sober, and I used prayer to get through everything. Because my mom has got cancer, I prayed to get through that in my sobriety, right? I've lost jobs. I almost died in July this year from burnout. But I'm telling all you guys here, if you guys could figure out what God is in your life, and you can believe that it wants good for you, God will be there when you're desperate, because he's the gift of desperation. When you're lost, he's the gift of direction. When you're at Lifelines, he's a group of drunks, a group of dealers, a group of druggies, a group of dysfunction. And look at this. I guarantee you, you would never see this many different people in a room, but God is also the gift of diversity. right? And so all you guys have a purpose. I appreciate you guys being here. I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Know that all you guys have the ability to pray and meditate, and magic will happen. You guys can do it. I know you can. So thank you for letting me share.